New York's heat safety debate. What's on the table for 2026? As extreme heat events become more frequent and deadly, New York is at a crossroads. From rental cooling mandates to workplace heat standards, a range of proposals are being debated across Albany and New York City that could reshape how the state protects its residents from rising temperatures. New York State's Climate Leadership and Community Protection Act commits the state to ambitious emissions reductions, but advocates argue that heat safety protections must keep pace with rising temperatures. New York City experiences an average of 350 heat-related deaths per year, according to the NYC Department of Health and Mental Hygiene. Governor Kathy Hochul's administration has signaled that extreme heat resilience is a top priority, with the state exploring indoor temperature standards, cooling center expansions, and workplace heat rules for 2026. The debate pits tenant advocates and worker unions against landlord associations and business groups over who should bear the cost of cooling. According to the New York State Climate Action Council's scoping plan, extreme heat events are projected to increase 3 to 4 times by mid-century, making heat safety not just a public health issue, but an economic imperative for the state. Why heat safety matters. New York's growing crisis. Extreme heat is the deadliest weather-related hazard in the United States. In New York, the impact is severe and unevenly distributed, with low-income communities and people of color bearing the brunt of rising temperatures. According to the NYC Department of Health and Mental Hygiene, approximately 350 New Yorkers die prematurely each year from heat-related causes. Heat deaths in NYC disproportionately affect low-income neighborhoods, communities of color, and older adults living alone. The South Bronx, Harlem, and parts of Brooklyn experience heat mortality rates 2 to 3 times higher than wealthier neighborhoods. The July 2024 heat wave sent over 2,000 New Yorkers to emergency departments with heat-related illnesses. Hundreds of thousands experienced power outages during peak heat, leaving vulnerable residents without cooling. Without adaptation, New York could see 3 to 4 times more extreme heat days above 90 degrees by mid-century. Cooling standards for rentals. The 78-degree debate. New York is considering legislation that would require landlords to maintain safe indoor temperatures during extreme heat. Proposed legislation would establish a maximum indoor temperature standard for rental housing when outdoor temperatures exceed 85 degrees. The proposed threshold ranges from 78 to 82 degrees, with tenant advocates pushing for the stricter end of the range. Landlord groups argue that retrofitting older housing stock would cost billions, with estimates of $15,000 to $50,000 per unit. Washington State's ESHB 1840 serves as a model for New York. Under that law, landlords must maintain indoor temperatures at or below 80 degrees when outdoor temps exceed 85 degrees. As stated on the official website of the New York State Senate, several bills are in committee that would create a cooling standard for Rental Housing Act. Workplace heat standards. Protecting New York's workers. New York has no specific heat standard for workplaces, unlike California, Oregon, Washington, and Minnesota. Outdoor workers in construction, agriculture, delivery, and landscaping face dangerous conditions during heat waves. According to the Bureau of Labor Statistics, New York recorded 27 heat-related workplace fatalities between 2011 and 2022. New York's outdoor workforce includes over 400,000 construction workers, 60,000 agricultural workers, and 200,000 delivery and landscaping workers. A New York heat standard would likely mirror California's CCR Title VIII and Oregon's standard, requiring shade, cool drinking water, heat illness prevention plans, worker training, and mandatory paid rest breaks when temperatures reach dangerous thresholds. Expanding cooling centers and green infrastructure. New York City operates over 500 cooling centers during heat emergencies, including libraries, community centers, and senior centers. However, a 2023 report found that cooling center access is uneven, with some of the hottest neighborhoods having the fewest centers. New York State is investing $150 million in urban forestry and tree planting in heat-vulnerable neighborhoods. The EPA's Heat Island Reduction Program provides guidance on community cooling strategies including green infrastructure and reflective building materials, energy affordability, and heat safety. The cost crisis. According to NYSERDA, low-income households in New York spend 6 to 8% of their income on home energy costs. The Federal Low-Income Home Energy Assistance Program, LIHEAP, provides cooling assistance for AC purchases and utility bills, but funding covers less than 20% of eligible households. NYSERDA's Empower Plus program provides free energy efficiency upgrades for income-eligible households, including heat pump installation. Tenant advocacy groups argue that cooling costs should not be passed through to tenants via rent increases. Urban heat island. How New York City's design makes it hotter. New York City's built environment amplifies extreme heat through the urban heat island effect. Nighttime temperatures in dense neighborhoods can be up to 10 degrees warmer than nearby rural areas. The NYC panel on climate change projects that days above 90 degrees could rise from 18 per year to 50 per year by mid-century. Tree canopy disparities are stark, with low-income neighborhoods having far less coverage than wealthier areas. Zoning reforms being considered for 2026 would require new buildings to incorporate passive cooling measures for extreme heat. Who stands where? Stakeholders in the heat safety debate. Tenant advocacy groups, including the Legal Aid Society, are pushing for a strict 78-degree maximum indoor temperature standard with immediate enforcement. Landlord associations oppose mandated temperature standards without state funding for retrofits, warning that costs will drive up rents. Labor unions support a comprehensive workplace heat standard but differ on the temperature threshold. Environmental justice organizations frame heat safety as a civil rights issue, pointing to the disproportionate impact on Black, Latino, and low-income communities. The outcome of the 2026 legislative session will depend on how these competing interests are balanced by Governor Hochul and the state legislature. Key takeaways. What's on the table for 2026? Rental cooling mandates would require landlords to maintain indoor temperatures at or below 78 to 82 degrees. Workplace heat standards would mandate shade, water, rest breaks, training, and illness prevention plans. The state is investing over $150 million in urban forestry, cool roofs, and cooling centers. Energy assistance programs provide cooling help, but funding covers less than 20% of eligible households. With extreme heat days projected to triple by mid-century, 2026 is a critical window for New York to pass comprehensive heat safety legislation. New York's decisions this year will shape how millions experience summer heat for decades to come.